My girlfriend wants me to stay away from my sister. So I'm an 18-year-old male. My girlfriend, who's a 26-year-old female, keeps telling me that she doesn't like my sister, who's 19, and that I should stop going to my own home. I don't understand what she has against her. Me and my sister are very close, and we always have been. We're 11 months apart, and she's my only sibling, so we always hung out growing up. But a few weeks ago, my sister and I went out to lunch. Nothing special, just for some bonding time. We used to go out to movies, lunch, swimming, etc. before I got with my girlfriend. Apparently, it's borderline incest, and my sister needs to know her boundaries. She's always accused me of cheating when I'd never do that to her, and now she's thinking that me and my sister might have a romantic relationship. We are siblings. I never thought about my sister in disgusting ways like that before. Currently, I'm living with my girlfriend. We've been friends since I was 16, but we started dating not long after my 18th birthday. Hold up. So she would have been 24 when she met you. A young 16-year-old. Goes to show that, that ebophile tendency is not restricted to gender. Seriously, I don't want to make any accusations too easily here, but does this not look like she clearly possibly was just waiting till you're 18? Sticking around until you're freshly matured. I always found her friendly, caring, sympathetic, and just overall a good person, but now I'm not so sure. She's telling me she knows that my sister is trying to get in my pants and that I need to stop going home to avoid my sister from trying to get with me. She's making me pack up all of my belongings I have left in my house and to stay with her permanently. My parents don't like her, and I don't want to tell them anything about what's happening because I feel like they'll get concerned. I already told my girlfriend I won't go back home, but I'm not sure I can do that. I'm really upset and don't know how to put it all into proper words, but what do I do? I've never been put in a situation like this before, and I don't know if I should just avoid my sister and my home, or tell my girlfriend I changed my mind. Yeah, red flags everywhere. It's like an entire gender swap of those kind of guys who get with younger women purely so they can mold and manipulate them without any resistance. Of course, the comments are collectively agreeing that this is entirely inappropriate. Even bringing up what I was already thinking. I'm starting to wonder if she groomed you as well. Sure sounds like it. Now, the OP actually replied to this, saying, I'm disgusted even thinking that's what she did, but I searched up, am I being groomed? And it does seem like it. I'm beyond heartbroken. I don't know how to leave her, and the fricked up part is I don't even really want to leave. Her pushing my sister away from me is just something I can't just put to the side. I feel so stuck. And that's totally understandable. Of course, you're not going to want to feel like you should leave or that you really want to leave because she's been manipulating you this entire time to think that you need to be with her. My man, you're 18. I know we like to shove responsibilities onto you now because you're legally an adult, but you have no idea what you are truly comfortable with and want in your life. Don't be ashamed of that. Be honest about that. Be open to yourself about that. It's great you gave this older woman a chance, you know? Hell yeah. Your perfect partner doesn't always need to be younger than you, men, but clearly in this case, that's not the case. So anyway, we'll move on to the updated part of the story that just came out today. I called my sister and broke down crying on the phone. My girlfriend was at work, so I was able to vent and understand what was truly happening. My sister came over and comforted me and told me she isn't mad at me and that I need to leave said girlfriend. So I packed what I could and now I'm back home. My dad won't talk to me and it hurts. I haven't seen my mum yet since she's working, but I feel like she'll be more understanding. As for my sister, we are going bowling tonight. She cried so much it made me cry. She told me she's disgusted, but not surprised that my girlfriend said what she said. I still feel guilty for leaving, and also guilty for basically ghosting my family, and still not sure what to do about my girlfriend. I haven't broken up with her. I haven't even messaged her or nothing today. Another thing I wanted to add, my girlfriend's behavior. Told me if I left her, she would hurt herself or end her life. Made sure if I was hanging out with friends, she had to be there. Accused me of stuff she knew wasn't true and would lash out. Example, misplacing her makeup bag, calling other girls, which I didn't, not being attracted to her, etc. Every time we're intimate, I have to not wear a condom because she doesn't like the feel, and she has to keep all of my passwords. And I'm sure there's more. I honestly just dealt with it and felt like she made it up for it by being the ideal girlfriend. I'm not sure how I didn't realize how fricked she is, but I'm glad I figured it out now. Thanks everyone who put it through my thick skull that I needed to leave. I appreciate it all. Some healthy advice in the comments: change all your passwords and forewarn anyone you can think of that your ex may go crazy. If she calls threatening anything, let her know that an ambulance will be on its way to her, then disengage. Yeah, refusing to let you use a condom is especially troubling. Be emotionally prepared for her to claim to be pregnant. And maybe test for STDs. If she didn't use condoms with you, she likely hasn't with anyone else. So technically an inconclusive story, unfortunately. Fingers crossed that they make an update in the next day or two and we can read it together. But honestly, really proud of this man and happy that his family has been there to support him. Well, aside from the dad. What's with the dad? Why does he seem to be so disrespectful to him for this? Your man's life could have been ruined by this woman. You should be very thankful he chose family over her. Anyway, we'll move on to a story now that's far more wacky than that dad. Just gonna leave the title here on the screen, not actually read it out loud in case the YouTube demonetization attacks me. But it's a story about two girls, one of their fiancé was caught playing the fiddle, and now the best friends are clashing because the OP is refusing to join in on a threesome with them. It's hard to explain, let's just read. I've known my best friend Sally for 10 plus years. We're both mid-20s now, both engaged to other people. I've been with my significant other for 8 years, getting married as soon as they graduate, and Sally and Jeremiah have been together around a year. He's in his 30s, I think. I know he's older, at least. I went to stay with them with my significant other because she was going with me to pick out my bridesmaid dress for her and Jeremiah's wedding. We came over around dinner time, hung out, and then we slept in their guest room. The next day, she and I headed out for dress shopping while the guys stayed back. She told me in the car that he'd told her to leave the bedroom door open. Then, when she went to lay down, he got his wiener out and asked what she'd do if he got caught, not exact words, and started playing with himself. She got up and closed the door. She laughed about it, and I just laughed nervously. I remember I heard their door close right as I went across the hall to the bathroom, so if I'd been just a little earlier, I would have caught him. I was uncomfortable, but figured she'd made it clear he couldn't do that, and it was handled. So, we found the dress and got it ordered, went to eat together, and then Sally and I went back to her home. She and I were watching a movie while the guys, who had a few drinks, both retired for the night. From where I was sitting in the living room, I could see straight down the hallway to her bedroom. I could see it out of the corner of my eye. This time, he left the door open and laid down. I don't know when it started, but some movement caught my eye, and I realized he was playing with himself again. I knew he wanted to be caught, so I didn't say anything about it. I texted my significant other, who started packing our things quietly. Sally went into the bedroom and freaked out. All I heard was, "I said no, you can't do that." And then at the end, she threw something. Clothes? I wasn't looking at them. Just, again, saw the movement out of the corner of my eye and said, "Cover up!" Then closed the door and came back up to talk to me. My significant other came out and faked a family emergency, and we left. I needed a sanity check, so I went into an extra therapy session to double check that I wasn't overreacting, and then sent her a list of demands. So, at their wedding, I requested that Jeremiah would stay away from me. He would not talk to me or my fiancé. I will not be around him for wedding prep. My fiancé will no longer be his groomsman, and after the wedding, I will never see him again. She will not share pictures or videos of me with him. 3, I cannot drive, so if I was with her, my fiancé would be nearby, maybe down the street working on something or whatever. I told her we would still have just us time, but I'm not expecting him to be there with us all the time. 4, Jeremiah would not come with her to my wedding. She's my maid of honor. At the end, I said, "And Sally, you said you didn't want anyone else to see his dick," referring to a conversation where she'd said he wants a threesome and she doesn't. "But I did. He showed your best friend his dick, and I didn't want to see it. Even if we stay friends, I want to pretend he doesn't exist when I'm with you." After talking to her, she apologized, and talked to him about it. Then she came back to me a few days later and said, "Jeremiah was in the privacy of our own room." The door was open. It wasn't private. I was tired and didn't want to argue, so I just gave up. I apologized to her and thought that was that. I can be polite to him. Maybe I was being unfair. He was drunk, whatever. I figured I was the a-hole in this case because he didn't know I could see him at that angle. And throughout this next bit, I want you to ponder with me. Backpedaling coming from the best friend herself or from the pushing words of her fiancé. But now, a few days ago, and less than 2 weeks after I saw him playing with himself, she sent me a text. He wants me to have a threesome with them. It isn't explicitly intimate stuff. It's a fetish thing they do, but he wants me involved. I said no, and made up an excuse about how I'm not into it, but now I'm feeling really gross. I already freaked out on her, and she's since made fun of me for, quote from a text, "Freak out on little things, lol." Just kidding. When I first freaked out, they both convinced me it was okay, and that it didn't involve me at all. He'd said he was drunk and thinking about her, forgot I was even there. But now that he's asked me to be in the threesome, I feel as though that was a lie. I don't know how to tell her I'm uncomfortable without her getting mad at me again. I don't know if I should restate those boundaries and stick with them, or if they're too extreme. I'm just kind of stuck not knowing what to do. Also, my significant other knows about everything and is saying I'm not overreacting, but I need another sanity check, so I figured I'd ask and see what people think. Now, some people in the comments were accusing this of being a troll post, but she did post screenshots of the text messages she sent, and after making this boundaries, and it's really interesting this part here, I know that it looked and probably felt that way, but he was texting to his girlfriend in New Jersey and thinking about me, but I do understand where you were coming from. I think they made the right call, getting you all out of there. I'm just sorry that it happened. So are you like in a polyamorous relationship or something? I am assuming. Don't really know if that adds anything to the story. It's just interesting extra context. But yeah, stop comments saying that guy is a creep and a scumbag. If it were me, I'd be out of the wedding, and so would my significant other. Tell her you'll catch the next one. This marriage isn't going to last. And it's the worst thing too, because honestly, if it weren't for what happened later with the gaslighting from the public fiddler and his girlfriend, I would have considered, yeah, maybe those boundaries are a bit too much. Prior to that, we only had the context that he was just, enjoying himself in his own room and completely ignorant to the fact that at the angle he was, people could have seen him. But even when you think about that, you've got guests at your house. Yes, it's your own room, you can do whatever you want in it, it's your own house, but you've got guests over. You can't genuinely expect them to just be comfortable with whatever you do in your household and not experience consequences to that. And also on your friend's side of things, they're just gonna throw away a 10-year plus relationship just to keep a man happy who clearly isn't satisfied with you in life. Like this comment says, both you and your friend are a bit of a pushover and you're both allowing him to stomp all over both of your boundaries. This was very sad to read. Hope he takes that like a punch in the gut, but thankful. But I do like this comment, nice and insightful. I saw this in a video from a therapist and I thought it could help. Reframe how you talk about boundaries. A lot of the things you talked about are requests, not boundaries. Jeremiah can't do this. Your friend can't do that. Frame it in terms you can control. I will turn around if I see him. I will not invite him to things. Think, for example, about the wedding, how he can't talk to you. Well, you can't control that. I bet he does talk to you. This guy gets off on disrespecting you. So how do you frame it in a way you can control? How about, I will not share a room with that man? Which brings me to, your friendship is over. She chose him. This, I can't see your husband, simply isn't tenable. You can't control that. You might as well grieve now and remove yourself. Rip the band-aid. This other sad info. Do you believe she's being coerced into this? OP says, she said, I have a feeling that one day I might have to cause he's so passionate about this. So yes, she doesn't want to do it with anyone, but he made her ask me. And as some other comments point out, this really just sounds like he's not only being an a-hole partner and abusive, yeah, but in the sense that he seems to get off on destroying people around him or just making them feel really embarrassed and ashamed, uncomfortable, essentially. He finds that power he gets from that, manipulating people's comfort and such, pleasurable. Really making assumptions about his fantasies and stuff here, but yeah, like, does he forget the fact that the friend had her own fiance over as well? Like, she's in a relationship, dude. That alone should be clear to you that, oh yeah, maybe it's not actually going to be possible to get a threesome? But who are we kidding? The man touches his pee-pee in front of guests at his own house. Let's not bother trying to be logical about this. Am I the a-hole for calling my hot-tempered guy co-worker emotional to embarrass him into calming the frick down? So I'm an engineer and I'm working on a team with 7 decently chill guys and 1 guy with anger issues. Like, he can't just have a respectful disagreement. He'll raise his voice and yell and get up close to your face. I hate it. So I started by just complaining to my boss about it. And he brushed it under the rug and saying he is just like that. And if I thought he was bad now, I should have seen him 10 years ago before he mellowed out. It makes me wonder what he was like 10 years ago, because he sure ain't mellow now. It's also a small enough company that there's no HR, only the corporate management, which didn't help. So I took a different approach. I stopped calling him angry, or calling what he was doing arguing or yelling. I just swapped in the words emotional, or throwing a tantrum, or having a fit. I was kinda hoping if I could shift his reputation from domineering, big man vibes, to emotional and tantruming, weak, sad baby vibes. So I started just making subtle comments, like if I had a meeting with him and he got a temper, I'd mention to the other people, wow, it's crazy how emotional Jay got. I don't know how he has the energy to throw a hissy fit at 9 a.m. I'm barely awake. Or when my boss asked me to recap a meeting he missed, I told him Dan, Jack, and James had some really great feedback on my report for this client. Jay kinda had trouble managing his emotions and had a temper tantrum again, but you know how he gets. Or when a coworker asked why he was yelling, I'd say, honestly, I didn't even know. He was getting so emotional about it, he wasn't speaking rationally. I try to drop it in subtly, and some of my coworkers started picking it up. I don't think consciously, just saying stuff like, oh, another of Jay's fits, or something. I got gutsy enough to even start saying it to his face. Hey, I can hardly understand what you're saying or trying to explain when you're so emotional. And again, my coworkers started picking up on it, and I even caught several of them telling him to get a hold of himself. After a while, he started to get a reputation as emotional and irrational, which I could tell ticked him off. But he stopped yelling at me as much. So anyway, he slipped once this week, and I just said, I really can't talk to you when you're being this emotional, and he blew up at me asking why I was always calling him that. I shrugged and said, dude, you look like you're on the verge of tears. Go look in the mirror before you ask me. And he got really angry that I suggested he might start crying. That was kind of a flippant comment. He was red-faced angry, not tearful angry, and I could tell. I feel like a bit of a dick for being petty and trying to gaslight this guy into thinking everyone around him sees him like a crybaby, but it also mostly worked when the proper channels didn't. Am I the a-hole for calling my coworker emotional when he got mad? So I see this in the same context as a parent would put laxatives in their kid's lunchbox when going to the school counselor or principal about bullying, they did nothing, so you take things into your own hands. Because you did try to go the proper channels, and they did nothing about it. So you apply a little bit of wordplay that yes, you were gaslighting, that's true, it was. But you were gaslighting the right person, which is a weird thing to say. I think the top comment says it perfectly. Natar, because he is, in fact, overly emotional. Nothing you said, except maybe the tears bit, is in any way a lie or even exaggeration. Stick to the truth. And it is. I agree to this thing. Lads, we are just as emotional as women. I'm being emotional right now. I am emoting. It's fun. Being stern, angry, even just speaking in a way that is a very serious tone is emotional. We speak to people based on how we are reacting to what they are giving us. Acting is reacting, ha ha ha. So really, there is nothing wrong in saying that a guy is being emotional if they're getting angry and yelling. Besides, it's always fun just to, you know, slightly triggering a misogynist like that. Some other interesting other side of the fence thoughts though. Thinking that everyone sucks here. You are tired of getting yelled at instead of going to him and explaining you understand he has anger issues, but you personally don't feel okay or comfortable with him talking to you in that manner, so you get everyone around you to start making fun of his issues, which you don't know if he caused himself or not, and it could have just made them worse. The manager, knowing the way he acts and doesn't discipline or talk to him or try to help him, maybe it's just the managers I work with, but if they care enough about the person and know the situation well enough, they will help out the employee. So as to why he isn't trying to help or discipline him is beyond me, because the manager is keeping the workplace a hostile environment. Then the other man, not being self-aware to realize he needs help if he's willingly yelling at his coworkers, and the fact it doesn't sound like he's doing anything to make the situation right, and in general for him just yelling at y'all, like, I get anger issues, but walk off and take a breather. It can make or break the situation, and your co-workers for just going along with it and not trying to be adults and handle the situation properly. Essentially, it sounds like the OP is just bullying his co-worker because he doesn't like his tone and is getting all his co-workers to join in. But some others say that Jay can also be considered a bully. Bullying a bully sounds fair to me, which you can agree on, but then also there's that idea that, well, this isn't school, this is a professional workplace. And it's not like this man was being only aggressive to you specifically, this was them venting out themselves to everyone. If anything, it feels like you should have just made the effort to create more of an intervention between, you know, all your co-workers onto this guy. Like, hey man, you do a good job here, we respect you, but this is just, it's unnecessary, it's annoying, and it's disrespectful. We're not your freaking therapists, we're not your mums, we're not your girlfriend or wife or whatever. You have issues that you need to vent them out with someone who you actually pay to do that with. Like, your co-workers shouldn't be your beating stick for your anger issues. So what do you reckon then? Do you think that they were in the right here? Or do you think that, yeah, they should have been more professional about it and sucked it up, buttercup? Anyway, we'll end things there. Of course, thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed your time and drinking water and being healthy. Go check out the Elvis movie if you haven't yet. It's a good time. I tell him to get a haircut, fairy. Get a haircut, buttercup! But until next time, you be good, love your face, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.